Hi. Today I wanted to talk about a book. It's Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And this is my second attempt trying to read this book because philosophy is so fucking hard to read for some reason. And I think there are three specific reasons why this is hard to read. All of philosophy is hard to read. Number one is because I feel like since this all of these philosophy books, a lot of them have been written so long ago, all the translations and shit, and like the grammatical structure of it is very outdated and stuff, and due to that, like it can be kind of hard to read. Like I cannot focus for like more than 5 minutes on these books, on like philosophy in general, right? I have to like log the fuck in, and it takes me a lot of time to finish one of these books. Well, this is the first one I've actually ever finished. I tried reading The Republic by Plato and The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus before this, but yeah, this is the only one I've finished. The second reason why I feel like these books are hard to read is because they are full of jargon and overly complex bullshit. And I think that's because if they were not full of jargon and overly complex bullshit, you would think that they are stupid as fuck in what they're saying. Because philosophy is mostly just one person trying to over exaggerate a very simple topic or trying to answer a overly simple question in a very complex manner and stuff. So yeah, that's the second reason I think why reading philosophy is difficult. And the third one is because if you think about it, philosophy is just an essay where a guy is trying to convince you about his ideologies, which of course means that you have to follow what the fuck he's trying to say, kind of like follow his logic, if that makes sense. And yeah, that can be kind of difficult for stupid people like me. Yeah, I think that's why all philosophy books are kind of hard to read. Now, why? So I bought this book 2 years ago, and first time I tried to read it, I went like 70% through, and then I was like, I was done. I just lost because it's just very, very, very difficult. However, I would still say this is way easier for like compared to the other books, and the reason for that is actually because this book is divided into paragraphs, and like all of the things that he says in it are like these are all small paragraphs of texts that he's writing, and that's because this is his personal journal, kind of like his notes app almost, that he wrote to himself. He never wanted it to be published, and this is a 1900-year-old book, so basically his 1900 years old notebook that he yeah, wrote for himself, and he is talking to himself in second person, so it almost feels like he's talking to you, which makes this kind of feel like a self-help book almost. Yeah, that's why I feel like it's kind of easier to read because you don't have to follow his logic for like a very long amount of time, but like small bits and pieces that you have to kind of understand. um, Now, talking about what I found in the book itself, so you see, Marcus Aurelius, basically, this book is like one of the biggest, most important texts in Stoicism, right? Which is a school of philosophy that basically goes like this: if you cannot control something, don't fucking worry about it. Now, this statement applies to everything, all the way from other people's emotions to the order and the purpose of the universe, right? So, yeah, it applies to everything that you cannot control. You just don't worry about it and chill out. And he talks a lot about death, God, and nature, kind of like in an interconnected way. Because according to him, death is a part of nature, which means it is decided by God, like designed by God. And since, according to him, God can never be wrong, so death can never be wrong. And so we should just accept it. And he talks about this a lot in the book. And other than this, there is also a lot of discourse about him talking about your inner divinity, how you should follow God, the God inside yourself, and how the highest standard of life you can live is basically living according to the moral compass that is inside of you. And however, there is still some discourse talking about God as like a man in the sky, which is what it is represented as. However, it is mostly about being moral and stuff. Then it is a lot about very you could say traditional values, but that is because this book is like 1900 years old, and of course nobody 1900 years ago really had that much understanding of the world or the universe, so they could really just talk about what they saw around them. However, a lot of the advice that he gives is still very much um, applicable to the real life. Like, of course, talk like other people's emotions. Like, thinking about what other people think of you is something that is almost eternal. As long as humans have been alive, they wanted to fit in, and he talks a lot about that in this book as well. um, yeah, that's really it. That's all of the stuff that I found from it. However, I would say this though, he fucking hates atheists in this book, because yeah, and like I'm not a very religious person myself, so I guess that's kind of where I disagree with him. But then again, as I said, 1900-year-old book, so like it's whatever, right? Very good book though. Like if you want to get into like understand stoicism, but like not from like a douchebag standpoint, because a lot of these stoicism books that are written nowadays are very much like self-help bullshit, which I'm not a big fan of anymore. Yeah, so this is actually a pretty good book if you want to read like stoicism and what it is. Also, if you want to just challenge yourself to read difficult fucking literature, is it literature? I don't know. Is it literature? I don't know. um yeah, so like if you want to challenge yourself, I guess you could try this. Also, you could try reading The Republic. Like the PDF is available on Google and shit. Yeah, just try it. You'll fold in like 4 minutes. It's so fucking annoying to read. That's all I really had to say about this book. Pretty good book though. Yeah, read it. I guess. Bye.